Welcome to my awesome student-led digital conference by the one and only Tori Phillips. First off is math. These are my quarter 3 averages for math. My test average for math is an 80%, my quiz average for math is a 93%, and my homework average for math is 100%. I think I really improved since quarter 2. I went from an 85 to an 86, and that's a good start. But I do think I should work a little bit harder on tests since I have an 80. In quarter 3, we are currently working on multiplying and dividing fractions. And coming up is geometry and measurements. In this picture, this is some of my work from chapter 8. Now, let's move on to my math journal. This is my math standards journal for chapter 8. The purpose of the math journal is to make sure you understand the chapter that was reviewed. Also, to use as a study guide to use when you take an FSA chapter test. And if a classmate is struggling, they can look on your math standards journal to study off of. This is a picture of my chapter 8 journal, lesson 8.1. Since this is the first year that Mr. J is using the math journal, he expects us to go above and beyond with our work. Not to brag, but my math journal is pretty amazing. Now that's it for math. Now let's move on to science. These are my quarter 3 averages for science. My quiz average for science is an 80%. My homework average for science is an 80%. And my classwork average for science is 100%. Overall, that's an 88%. I think I need to try a lot harder on science because I went from a 91 to an 88. And that's a pretty big drop. I need to start doing my science homework. This is some of my work from lesson 26. Now, let's move on to my science journal. This is my science standards journal. It's just like the math journal. We use it to review for a test and use it as a study guide. This is also the first year Mr. J is using it, so he expects us to go above and beyond. My science journals are pretty darn good too. Now, that's enough of science. Let's move on to language arts. These are my quarter 3 averages for language arts. My test average for language arts is an 87.5. My quiz average is a 92.5. Overall, that's an 88%. I think I really excelled in reading. I went from an 85 to an 88, and that's a really big increase. In the picture, this is some of my reading strategies that I use with Miss Newman. Now, let's move on to writing. There are no current grades in writing. Otherwise, I think I'm doing very well in writing. My writing teacher, Mr. Tincher, says that he likes the way that I write. This is one of my writing essays that I did about climate change and lemurs. Now, here's some of my work from my writing journal. This is where I write all my essays. Informative and argumentative essays are our 2 writing topics. Argumentative equals pick a side to write about, and informative equals inform the reader what you are writing about. The picture on the right is some of my argumentative work, and the picture on the left is some of my informational work. Now that's enough of writing. Now let's move on to history. These are my quarter 3 averages for history. My quiz average for history is 100%. Overall, that's 100%. I think I did amazing because I went from a 98 to 100, and that's a big difference. These are some of my strategies that I use when I do my history homework. Now, let's move on to my behavior. We use something called Class Dojo, which we record our behavior. Positive, 88%. On task, plus 45. Helping others, plus 3. Class compliment, plus 6. Participating, plus 1. Hardworking, plus 11. Bob cut up, plus 4. Negative, 12%. Talking out of turn, plus 8. I think I've done very well in my behavior, but I do think I need to work a little bit harder on calling out. Sometimes I don't allow the teachers to teach, and sometimes I don't allow the students to learn, and I think I'm going to fix that. Now let's move on to my self-reflection. I feel like I've been slacking off some of my work, and I'm trying to fix that, so I'll be ready for the FSA test at the end of the year. Watch the following video to see my self-reflection. Hi, I'm Tori Phillips, and this is my self-reflection. Over the past couple years of my learning, Mr. J and Miss Newman seem to stand out from all the other teachers. Because in the Hive, they expect us to take it one step further in all our work. I think I pretty much covered that, but sometimes I seem to be slacking off my work, and I'm trying to fix that so I'll be ready for the FSA test at the end of the year. Miss Newman and Mr. J have taught me a lot. Mr. J has given us math journals, science journals, and test reviews, and Miss Newman has been giving us a lot of reading strategies, reading logs, and been writing with us for a lot. And I think I'm ready for the FSA test. I am so lucky to be in the Hive, and I am so lucky to have Miss Newman and Mr. J as my teachers. Now, feel free to follow us on social media. Instagram, hive.bts. Twitter, thehive, @hivebts. eBlogger, http thebtshive.blogspot.com. YouTube, The Hive BTS. Thank you so much for watching my awesome student-led digital conference. Bye! Now, stay tuned for my follow-up.